I need your help. My answer is not good enough. I need your answer. I want to know what the consensus is. How African must you be, DNA-wise, to be considered as an African American? My theory is I don't count. My mom only tested 2% African, which means I would be 1%. My grandfather would have been 4%, and my great-grandfather would have been 8%. Okay? 8%, that's about how Sephardic Jewish I am. It's also about how Middle Eastern I am apart from that. 8% would have been my great-grandfather. I'm not that African. Now granted, I have two of my uncles have features of someone who is African. Their hair is definitely African hair. And that was what was always interesting growing up, seeing that, how they had those features. So I always speculated it, and now the DNA test backed it up. But even then, it's not even fair for me to try to identify as an African American, is it? I think that would be racist, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be racist if I tried to identify as an African American? I think most people would say yes. So if I'm on the far end of the scale, let's build that scale up. You know, obviously, if you both of your parents are black, and you're African American. Okay, got it. One parent is black, one is white. Okay, so you're half. You're biracial. Okay. What if you're a quarter? Okay, yeah, still. That means you've got a grandparent or two. Okay, so you're good. What about? So how little can you be African American in today's times? Now that we're way past the one drop rule, how African must you be to be an African American? And at what point does it become racist, even if you were part African, but you are mainly white? At what point does it become racist for you to claim that you're African American? And it's interesting because for me, DNA test shows something like I'm a quarter to maybe even up to a third Spanish descent. Or when you mix that with my Central American DNA, on paper, at least I could easily identify as Hispanic or Latino, right? Arguably. But I'm so much less African. But I'm not going to pretend that I'm not, because that would mean I wouldn't exist. I depend on my African ancestors in order to be alive today. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't be here. So anyway, that's what I am sorting out of my brain right now. What I care about is hearing what you have to say about that. I want you to answer my question. I want you to consider what I've just said in this video and help me sort this out in the comments. I'm really wanting to explore and celebrate understanding this better. In modern day, how African does your DNA need to be before you can legitimately call yourself an African American? That's what I want to know. And it's similar to, and I've mentioned this before on my video channel here, let's say a white couple from Missouri adopt a little girl from Korea, and they raise her, and they already had 2 other sons. So she has 2 older brothers that are white, 2 parents that are white, and no connection to anyone Korean outside of that. We could argue that she's culturally white, but she's 100% Korean. So, but does that still work the same concept as if you are 100% white and not African, but grow up maybe in a black neighborhood, a black school, and everyone you know is black except your immediate parents are of European descent? Okay, this is me. I'm gonna stop talking now, and I'm gonna let you take it from here. I think this is fascinating, and I really want to know what you have to say. Will you do this for me? Will you leave a comment and help me sort this out? I would very much appreciate it. I want to understand what society's view is on this.